So Michael has just been such a powerful driving force, along with so many other organizers, to make these things happen. Please pay close attention to Michael Sussman of the Democratic Alliance.
Thank you. Well, first of all, thank you for coming. The members of the media who are here today, I appreciate your presence. The police agency, which is really here to assist us. Peter Miller, the police chief, who's always really been a gentleman in helping us have these rallies in a rather hostile community. There are many I've spoken with this week who've asked why, in light of the fact that Barack Obama is president, we're here. Why are we here? He's ending the war. The troops are coming home next year. His heart's with us. His heart's with us. And why are we bothering him? Well, let me say this, ladies and gentlemen. You've heard it in different ways from other speakers. We are operating on different paradigms. We are operating on different paradigms. We believe that the wounds of war are already pervasive in our society. They are in fact immobilizing large segments of our society into profound apathy, into economic despair, into hopelessness, into powerlessness, into listlessness. We've moved from a society where democratic activism was understood as a method for change to a society in which the activism of 2008 amongst our young has already, 2 short years later, been replaced by a pathetic alienation, an anomie, a sense of placelessness amongst these young who worked for a person who they believed would stand for different, paradigmatically different values. The wounds of war are pervasive. I work with veterans. I see the veterans coming home. They come to my law office. They can't get jobs. They can't get services in the Veterans Administration hospitals, despite the tremendous rhetoric. They're dislocated. The wounds of war are pervasive because if we go to Iraq and Afghanistan, we see countries destroyed. Making peace through war is rejected by those here today. So why are we here? Because we recognize that you cannot make peace through war. Even America once recognized that. After World War II, we developed the quote-unquote Marshall Plan. Whatever the cynicism about its corporate roots, it's a recognition that there must be a devotion of significant resources to making peace. America needs a paradigmatic revision. We must stop demonizing those who have a different worldview than we do, or than some of us do. We must seize those in Iraq who have fought the insurgency as freedom fighters. What would Americans do if another country invaded the United States? Would we sit on the sidelines? Or would, regardless of any differences internally, would we all fight back? In 2002, December, I wrote a piece projecting the insurgency. And I said if the United States goes into Iraq, we will face a profound insurgency. It's exactly what we faced, to the point where we don't have victory, as the group on the other side is claiming. We are leaving with our tail between our legs, without any assurance of anything. We have leaders there who are like those leaders in South Vietnam in 1965. Those of us remember those leaders. One followed another. There was no stability. Now, we have devalued what matters. Last night I was at my children's school in New Paltz. I saw 110 children for 3 hours perform Bach, Vivaldi, Beethoven. Students 4th grade, 5th grade, 6th grade, 7th grade, ennobling art, ennobling music, ennobling the human spirit. We're not just against something, and let no one mistake what we are for. We are for a society in which human values, dignity, diversity are genuinely appreciated and elevated. We are for a society in which the arts, recreation, education, human health, human dignity are elevated. We devalue that every day we stay in Iraq and Afghanistan and fight against those who have human values. Those values may differ from ours. There can be no imposition. There can be no imposition. Many of you have spoken here today about rearranging national priorities, but here's the key. We cannot have one-issue movements. Forget it. Forget it. In the 1960s, when some of us were young, what was profound about it was the pervasiveness of change, the cultural, the literary, the sex, the drugs. It all came together in a paradigmatic shift. I'm going to introduce my son in a minute for a very good reason. It's people like Mathis, it's people like my son who are going to lead this paradigmatic shift. We have had our chance, we have failed. Okay? We have become comfortable in whatever our lifestyles are, and whatever our commitments are. We have not made the sacrifices necessary to remake America, whatever our ideals. They're going to have to make those sacrifices. They're going to have to lead this country in a radically different direction. They're going to have to find jobs for millions and millions of people who are now out of work. And that's the fundamental foundation of it all. Without an economy that functions, without an economy that employs people gainfully, not by saying we need 1 million people to send overseas because there's nothing for them here to do. We can't bring them back. What are they going to do here? How are we going to replace our weapons industry? It's one of our most profitable, fruitful industries. What else are we making or selling? Nothing. So we have huge amounts of work to do, and we always must elevate one principle. It is beyond personality. The work we have to do is serious political work. It's not about one person. It's not about who's the leader. It's none of that. It's about what are the ideals that are worth fighting and dying for. And that's what we have to say to those who are not here today. They're not here today because they don't understand how this war has ruined our economy, how it's ruined our morality, how it's ruined our schools. And it has.